One, two. 1, 2. Hi, you're with Scott. This is my Twitch stream. It's midnight. It's always midnight. This is your right ear and your left ear because this is mono. And what we're doing? What we're doing is I'm going to do a little poem, a little rap thing called Braves. And I've got the fatty catty now as well. Oh, the big fatty catty. Here he is. Got him. Marlo the dog is chewing a little chewy bone, so you might be able to hear that gnawing in the background. But I'm going to do the rap first, and then we're going to talk about how to talk to people you disagree with. So that's what's coming up. If it was the telly, there'd be a little sort of like thing now, like little, but there's none of that. So it's not the telly, is it? It's not the telly. Right, we are here. Let's do Braves. Let's change to the big face. Let's fade to the big face. You got my big face now? Big face. Let's just check you can hear me. Just check that. Yeah. I think we're all good. Okay. Let's do Braves then, yeah. So it would have had a beat and it would have had a second verse, but the second verse is like an incitement to riot, so I can't do that. And I'm not sure if I play the beat and the delay. I mean, I haven't tried to fix the delay today, so I don't know if there is one, but we're not going to get into any of that. We're just going to do it just raw. But it would have gone like. So where my Braves at? Offer the king a Cadillac. He don't settle for that, he wants his land back. And I kinda feel him, you've been caught stealing, it's time to deal with him. I can't feel for him, so where my Braves at? Been scattered around the map like ashes, while the world eats do the dishes. Now it's your turn to make your wishes come true. Black lives matter, but they don't matter to you. Well, I'm a soothsayer, I can see the future. They all feed off your body like vultures. Call your roots and culture in the media. Black lives matter, but they don't matter to you. Well, I'm a soothsayer, I can see the truth. Even when the bads masquerade as goods, paid for the messages displayed in your neighborhoods, I can see disguises. Recognize lies like a polygraph, so do the mathematics. They're trying to divide the working classes by making us hate the masses when we should hate the masters. So in the mirror I'm a fucking transformer. Well, now a leader. Join the struggle, brothers and sisters, with your body doubles getting slaughtered. It's time to stand up for your sons and daughters. So where my Braves at? God, I feel a lot more nervous and like edgy than I thought I would doing that, because I've just been doing it in the house just without this all turned on. I've just been feeling fine about it. But as soon as the live to two people, it makes you feel like all like nervy, which is weird, because I think if I was doing it live to music I wouldn't feel that nervous. I think I'd just just be like Wah. But yeah, so that was Braves. What I'm going to do now is edit stream info so it doesn't say that anymore. Bars for BLM. Yeah, if anyone else wants to get in on Bars for BLM, I just invented it. I'm sure lots of people have rapped about Black Lives Matter, but spit some bars, write a poem, put it on the old interwebs. It's like a form of protest, isn't it, in a way? Form of musical sort of. Anyway, so that might take off, and if it does, I want everyone to remember that it's me that started it. Not the whole Black Lives Matter, I didn't start that, but bars, just the bars. In fact, I didn't start that, did I? I'm not the first person to do rapping, so. But anyway, got the old tea, got the old chatting going. Let's change the title. Let's get off the big face. Hey, let's get off the big face. Let's fade that. There you go. That's better, isn't it? Yeah, that is better, isn't it? Right, let's change the stream title to how to talk to people you disagree with. How to talk. How to talk. How to talk. Talking. Talk to They've put, like, I've put a capital T there, but they've put a little t. How to talk to people. Should we go with the little t? We'll do what they do. How to talk to people. You, big you, big you, disagree with. That's it, that's done. Stream info updated successfully. So that's it now, we're streaming. The stream info has been done. The only thing is that I can't see the actual the window with the thing I'm supposed to be talking about. The old, there it is. Right, how to talk to people you disagree with. Okay. Right, we're on. Do I need that headphones? I don't know if I need the headphones. I think the chat's working. I think this is working. I think you can hear me. Just going to check that you can hear me. 1, 2. Yeah. Right. And let's have a look at this. Let's get down to real business. Oh, the cat's scratching the chair. This is written by, I don't know, it's a pocket collection by Amy Mowers. So it's like a collection of articles. It just came up on the automatic, the internet automatically makes you look at things. And it just came up, like, all these different articles before I could log on to the old internet. It was like, have a look at this. So it was, actually, that doesn't look too bad, does it? Look, some of these things. So maybe this has been tailored to my specifications, but how to listen, how to find common ground, how to stop getting defensive. I don't get defensive. I don't know why you suggest that to me. I don't get defensive. How to change your mind. Conversations on polarising topics are possible. If you're up for it, here's how to start. Why hostility can bring us closer together. In that you're physically close when you punch someone, aren't you? How to actually, don't punch anyone. That was a joke. Don't punch anyone. How to actually change someone's mind. Look, we're going to go for conversations on polarising topics are possible. That's what we're going for. And here we are. And I hope this isn't going to be, breaking all the rules of copyright and all that business. This is on the internet, so everyone can look at it. It's by behavioural scientist and Caitlin Finton, all the way down the bottom here. Whee! Caitlin Finton has written this. She's a PhD candidate in the psychology department at Cornell University. Let's try and keep this relaxing. I did that already. Look, she's a graduate student writing fellow. What? A graduate student writing fellow? I think a fellow might be like a term, like a terminology for something that you are, like a title. Graduate student writing fellow, because in England we just sort of say fellow, like chap. At the behavioural scientist. She specialises in behavioural and evolutionary neuroscience. Her research focuses on the neurobiology of social behaviour. So that's pretty, high tech, isn't it? The old brain science. Evolutionary neuroscience. Her research focuses on that with a specific emphasis on mating decisions in prairie voles. I didn't realise that was coming at the end. A specific emphasis on mating decisions in prairie voles. So, I mean, am I going to have to then show you what prairie voles are? I don't want to. I imagine they're little animals. I don't want to keep skipping off different web pages. I don't want to do that. It takes me way down different tracks. And unless you come up in the chat and say, I need to see a prairie vole, Google your own prairie vole. She's a specialist, right? She's a specialist. So when it comes to talking about conversations on polarising topics, the prairie vole specialist of Cornell University is the person to go to. Especially if you're interested in the mating decisions of said prairie voles. So she's written like an abstract conversational. I stared at the Thanksgiving turkey on my plate in awkward silence, embarrassed to have brought this disaster into my grandparents' house. He's brought me a squeak. The dog's brought me a squeak. That's going away. He's lost that. He's lost that. You lost that, mate. I gave you a chewy. You chew your chewy for this. So, I'm not going to read through all this they've had an argument over the Thanksgiving table. I think this is what counts as fair use, is if I don't read it all. So that you can read yourself. They've had an argument. We've all had arguments, you know what they are. Discussing controversial topics with our families and peers helps us learn and grow. We don't exist in a vacuum inside Henry, and we're not static like caravans. As people, we develop our ideas by interacting with each other's, testing our thinking and getting feedback. I mean, I guess that's kind of true. Although I also think there's something to be said for people who go and sit in a cave on their own and have a good think. You know, Robbie Burns wrote that poem about the spider. And the Buddha came up with Buddhism, didn't he? So you can do some stuff on your own. Conversations can reveal potentially relationship-ending opinions held by people we care about, and for many, the issues at stake represent actual existential threats. What do you want, little bugger? Do you want to come here? Daddy's on stream, so if you want to come in, up, to any place. No, you can't have the squeaky. The squeaky's gone, son. It's gone. If you want to get on stream, you have to get up to daddy height, or your alternative is you eat your chewy. So you can't keep buggering daddy about while he's trying to stream. Come on, come up here. Come here. Come to daddy. Hup. You're a bugger. Right. What's the best way to deal with polarising topics without resorting to yelling at each other? That's what we're here for, isn't it? That's what we want to know. So far, all this writing, a lot of typing, and we haven't got to it yet. But if you feel up for it, here are the ways you can start. Right, here we go then. Ding! Number 1, ditch the deficit model and approach conversations with the other person's background in mind. Before you even start a conversation with someone, take a step back and think about how their life... Take a step back. This is going to be good, isn't it? Hi, my name's Scott. It's nice to meet you. I'm just going to... Just before we... don't start speaking yet. I'm taking some time to think about how your life may have shaped your opinions. So what I instinctively, I think I get what she's trying to say here. You know, think about your I don't want to say opponent, do I? It's not opponents when you're talking to people. Think about your friends, I don't know, the people you're talking to. Think about their lives and their backgrounds and how it shaped their opinions. Yeah, I get that, but it's hard when you first meet someone, isn't it? Because you don't know much about their lives without asking them questions. So I guess the next thing would be ask them questions about themselves to try and find out how their lives have shaped their opinions. But by that point, you might be getting off topic. Especially if it's just like political debate on Question Time or something. I mean, some of the people on Question Time that I disagree with, I'd think, how has your life turned you into such a... But I wouldn't have to, you know, it doesn't matter to me why they've become such a mean person. It just matters that they are. I mean, we could try and get into that, but maybe there is something for that, you know, when bad people are doing mean things, maybe you could say, look, you know, I get it. People were mean to you when you were a kid. I don't know. Science communication research, science, all these are big words, aren't they, all in a row? Science communication research demonstrates that people's past experiences and beliefs can act as a perceptual filter and may change how people interact with scientific evidence. So that's really long words to say the things that happen to you can change the way you think, can colour the way you think. And I guess that's, you know, yeah, I agree, but it seems kind of patently obvious, doesn't it? But I guess what they're driving at here about the scientific evidence is that, you know, you might present the same factual data to somebody, to two different people, and they might read into it in different ways depending on their life's experiences. And you don't have the information to know how they're going to read into it. So, scientists have traditionally defaulted to a deficit model for communicating science. So we're on science now at the moment, just specifically science. I suppose this is behavioural scientist, but, you know, I don't only argue with people about science. I argue with them about all sorts of things. So they've traditionally defaulted to a deficit model. The assumption is that people don't trust the science on a certain topic because they don't know enough about it. the solution, tell people the facts, and then they know about it and they can increase their support for it. Unfortunately for scientists, I was going to say, the deficit model has proven time and time again to be faulty. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about conspiracy theorists, isn't it? And people who... I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories on stream now in my early stages because I don't know how Twitch might view that misinformation broadcast. I don't want to shut me down. But yeah, people get funny ideas and you can show them the true evidential based science and then they'll still have funny ideas. So that doesn't work. Past experiences and cultural and religious identity shape how people interact with facts. Yeah. A repetition of the fact that your past shapes how you view things, and in some cases have a greater influence in shaping the opinions of people on controversial topics than actual knowledge about the topic. This holds true from topics from climate change to medical genetics. So what we've said in this number 1 so far, is this how you get a PhD? Is just by writing loads of words to say really simple things. What we've said is that people's lives shape how they think on everything. Take the use of nanotechnology for an example. Well, if you like. Nanotechnology focuses on interacting with materials at the atomic or molecular scale, which theoretically could allow us to build and manipulate any structure in existence. The potential of nanotechnology touches on ideas that highly religious people in particular may object to over fears of playing God. Right, here's something that I'm going to divert down now. And it is something that bugs me a little bit. Like, Richard Dawkins, a little while ago, probably about 20 years ago now, like poo-pooed all over God and religion. But he wasn't poo-pooing over every religion and God. He was really specifically poo-pooing the Bible and, you know, the things it says in the Bible and the scientific inaccuracies. And he was poo-pooing stuff. Hey, little doggy, stop messing your daddy. He was poo-pooing the Bible. And it's fair enough, you know, you can poo-poo the Bible. It's easy to rip it apart, isn't it? It was written and rewritten and translated and changed and, you know, and all that business. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Right. But, like, this whole thing about religious people object to science and therefore it's like a huge... Like, obviously, this is a scientist who's writing this and they may have had, like, some large religious backlash. And it may be that in one part of the world, like in America, there's quite a large financially backed evangelical Christian sort of lobbying group that push their agenda and their ideas. Yeah, that's true. That happens in American politics, but it's not sort of the case throughout the world all the time. In fact, in the UK, only 30% of people believe in any kind of God. Only 30%. So this thing about, like, you know, oh, science versus religion, like, you know, science versus religion, I don't think it needs to be that. I think people can, like, have a spiritual side to their existence. They can have a faith and also believe in the truths of science and find it hard to marry the two ideas. Yeah, but there are ideas in science that you find it hard to, like, fit in your brain, that we can't even physically work out, like dark matter and, you know, and stuff like that. So yeah, there are big ideas we can't really deal with, and you don't have to poo-poo everyone else's ideas. You know, you can have faith and you can believe in science. And so it's funny to me when the scientists always get in this little tizzy about, oh, the religious people, because I don't really believe in the wider scheme of things in the whole world there is such a strong anti-science religious agenda as they seem to make out. But maybe if you're a scientist, you know, looking at their lives, looking at it through their eyes and how their life experience is, maybe if you're a strongly scientific person with a scientific agenda, you've come up against these religious ideas and people and lobbyists more than someone like me has. So maybe it's that, you know, maybe it's that. Little doggy, do you want to come here? Can you come here? Come to Daddy. Come on, Daddy's picking you up. He's had enough. He's picking you up. Here you are. Here you are now. Right then. Right then, got the little doggy. So we got him. He's okay. A 2009 study. Should we talk about that? A 2009 study specifically examined how support for nanotechnology varied with religiosity. It's about this nanotechnology versus religion. Knowing the science didn't matter, religion ultimately acted as a filter on the perceptions of nanotechnology. So there's a bee in the bonnet here about a particular issue in science and nanotechnology. Fine. I don't know how this is helping me deal with people when I'm arguing. We shape how we approach complex conversations by learning from the mistakes of the deficit model. Lecturing to people is unproductive, especially since experiences and personal identity have as much of an influence on opinions about a topic as facts, if not more. Instead, let's take the time to understand your conversation partner's past experiences and beliefs. Use this as information to tailor your message specifically to the identity of the person to whom you're talking. God, that sounds like marketing gumbo, doesn't it? What are they saying? Try and talk to them in their language. Is that what Hey, oh, you little catty. Fat catty, attack the dog then. Don't attack the dog. He doesn't like him sometimes. He went too close. All right. Animal fair, yeah. We're all going to calm down. So, we're going to get onto that, I suppose. Number 2, use personal stories. I'm going to do the noise of the keyboard. Number 2, use personal stories to increase the potential for changing opinions. How should you shape the conversation if your goal is to change someone's mind on a controversial topic? That's interesting. I'm just going to check that, this stream is on. We are live. I'm going to unmute. I can hear that. Yeah, I'm just going to check. Just checking. Just checking it's all working. Okay, it still says bars for BLM poem. So I don't know about that. I don't know why it says that. I thought we changed that. I have changed it. Done. How to talk. Yeah, okay. Right, we changed it. Okay. Anyway, look, I'm getting distracted. How should you shape the conversation if your goal is to change someone's mind on a controversial topic? Right. I didn't realise that was the case. I didn't know we had to change their mind. Like, he's scratching me back now. The other day, I had a conversation with somebody about vaccines. Not like a, not some kind of conspiracy stuff. Just some facts, some like how effective the vaccine was. What have I just done then? Oh, I just clicked all those buttons. Comments on YouTube. YouTube Studio. No, it doesn't matter. Right, look. Doggy's scratching on my back. You're going to have to stop doing that. That was naughty. So, yeah, we were having a conversation about vaccines and facts and about the efficacy of vaccines and stuff like that. And I thought my data or my reading of the data, maybe it's based on my life experience, I thought that was correct, and my friend thought that her reading of the data, maybe based on her life experience, is correct. So instead of arguing about it, we just both said, yeah, you know what, look, you think that and I think this, and it doesn't matter, that's fine, that's how we think. I'm not going to believe what you think, you're not going to believe what I think, and we're going to stop going on about it because it doesn't matter to us. Like, when you get your vaccine, it'll work, and when I get mine, it'll work, and that's that. So maybe that's a point to make in conversations on polarizing topics. Maybe it's okay for somebody to have their own polarized opinion and for you to just not change it. But maybe it's not, maybe it's something we should be working on, how to change people's minds. That sounds a bit, mind control-y, doesn't it? It sounds a bit sinister, to change someone's mind. But I suppose it's being done to us on a daily basis through marketing, isn't it? And people's posts and stuff like that. Anyway, this is a question politicians and canvassers think about all the time. Oh, I see. How can they best influence voters to support a specific cause? That's complex. We're not going to get into all of that right now. Many have started using a technique called deep canvassing, to garner support from voters, often with long-lasting impacts. Deep canvassing uses so I suppose we are going to talk about politics now, uses a person's specific experiences to guide them towards changing their views. People are
resistant to persuasion when they feel pressure to admit their views are wrong, and when changing their opinions goes against their self-identity. Deep canvassing tries to change views without using persuasion. Instead, people are guided through non-judgmental... It's saying the same thing over and over again. Instead, people are guided through non-judgmental conversations about personal narratives related to the topic at hand. It'd be nice if we had some sort of straightforward example, because what we said, again, in loads of words here. I'm not being harsh on PhD Caitlin. I mean, she's got a PhD, so, she's already sorted. She's got her shit together. There's a lot of interesting stuff here, that's why I'm reading it. So, thumbs up. But I do think it's a bit wordy, a bit verbose. See how I used two different words for the same thing then? I could have just said it's a bit wordy. But if it was me, I'd have just said verbose. Anyway. I think what we're saying here is if you say, no, you're wrong, then people don't want to say... People are resistant to persuasion when they feel pressured to admit their views are wrong. Right, so if you're saying, well, I want you to admit that you're wrong, then people are not going to say, yeah, I'll admit I'm wrong. I get that, right? So they're guided through non-judgmental conversations about personal narratives. I guess what that is, that's that funny questioning where... we had a game on this would be funny, my sister will love this. We had a game of Fortnite the other night, and I think we should have gone up a hill and the rest of the team didn't. And I think what they're trying to say here is, if I said, oh, you should have gone up the hill, admit it, you should have gone up the hill, admit you were wrong, then they'd have gone, no, I'm not admitting that. I get that, yeah. So then I would have had to have gone, people are guided through non-judgmental conversations. So did you feel that moving towards or against the hill was in your best interests, in light of the fact that I don't mind if we win or lose the game? Something like that. I don't know how you do these non-judgmental conversations about personal narratives related to the topic at hand. Maybe if someone wrote it in plain English, I'd understand. A recent paper from Joshua Kaller and David Brookman provides an excellent example of how deep canvassing works. Oh, good. Instead of directly talking about unauthorised immigration, potential voters were asked to share a time when someone showed them compassion when they really needed it. Canvassers actively engaged in these stories in a non-judgmental way. So they didn't say it was good, they just didn't judge. Can you tell me a time when someone showed you compassion when you really needed it? And then you're telling me this story and I'm going, well, yes and no. Not really, not positive, not negative on that. Just listening. And eventually brought the conversation back to how the experience of the individual was similar to that of unauthorised immigrants. So you tell me your story, I was having a hard time and someone was nice to me. Yeah. And I go, yeah, I got my vote Scotty sticker on at this point. And I bring it around and I go like, so, in a lot of ways, you're like an immigrant. The people are going to be like, what? Yeah, no, in a lot of ways, honestly, listen, in a lot of ways, what happened to you is just like what's happening to those people. And they're going to go, yeah, no. Unless they learn to see life through the shoes of the others, like at the start of this. I'm not sure if that's going to work again. I mean, I can see why they think it'll work. Why you put someone in an emotional place and then you link that emotional place to the cause you're trying to draw out. I think in a way, there's something to be said here, the nucleus of this, something to be said about this and veganism, because when I talk to people about animals in general, or when I used to talk to people before I was vegan, I seem to have a different opinion on animals in general, the wildlife, the natural life that kills each other and eats each other and does whatever, and my own personal ownership of pets. And of course, I would never eat my dog, and like, if my dog died, I wouldn't eat it because it'd be a waste. I never thought about trying to, anyway, yeah, it's like, but then like you have this different emotional attachment to an animal that yourself in your life regularly, that you become friends with, that's part of your family. And then if you then start to tie that concept to animals in general, how they have their own lives, how they're all a bit like my dog, how they've all got their own personalities and wants and You know, how they can all feel content or scared. In general, I'm talking, you know, obviously people can go, oh yeah, but can a fly feel content? And like, you know, maybe they're happier in certain places. Who knows? Well, anyway, the point I'm making is that experience then is similar to the experience of other animals, and then I'm like, oh, so now I see I can't. If I'm not going to do this about like because I think this about my dog, then maybe I think it about all the animals. Or maybe if I think this about all the animals, then maybe I should be less sentimental about my dog. You know, which is it? And then like you sort of see more clearly where the lines are drawn. So maybe that's true. You know, actively engaging in stories in a non-judgmental way, and eventually bringing those stories back to the thing that you want to drive the point home about. It's a bit of a long windy way around it. And in order to do this, talking to people that you don't agree with, talking about polarizing topics, in order to do that, I think you have to have quite an agile mind or have thought this through beforehand. Because if you're just in the heat of the moment, in a discussion, you know, down the pub, not going down the pub, are we? No one is. I've not been for 2 years now. Yeah. I mean, I didn't used to go because I wasn't drinking, but I used to sometimes pop in to see some friends. But, yeah, lockdown, no pub. Yeah, if you're at the pub, which you're not, and you're chatting about a topic and someone's having a disagreement, then it's difficult to then stop and sort of say, okay, hang on, let me try and think about how I can use an example from this person's life to bring them round to the sentiment that I want them to think and feel, to then link it back to this. Because you'd be arguing and someone's saying, oh, but you said this and I think this about that. And you'd go, hang on. Why don't you tell me about when you were a kid and you used to have a little bike? And you'd be like, what? I'm not telling you about when I was a kid. No, I used to have a little bike. You fucking think this and this and this. I said the F word, then don't tell anyone I said the F word. Just keep that down. It just, you know, you'd start, wouldn't you? So this is going to be difficult. Trying to bring it round to experience that's similar. Engaging in a personal narrative first. Let voters come to their own conclusions without feeling forced or pressured by canvassers. Gosh, maybe this is in America because maybe those voters aren't that like mentally adept. If simply, do you like Christmas? You also like presents. Remember how you felt when you got presents? Yeah? If you vote for me, it's like getting presents. See how I've linked those two? You sign up, signed up, done. Right? You know, it seems like a bit of a facile, obvious, transparent ploy. Do you like this? You also like this. Like, yeah, maybe it works for some people, but I think if you're thinking about what the person's saying to you and their motives, this is why this falls apart in my mind, is if someone came to my door and started talking, you know, if they're political, canvassing, whatever, they might ask me to engage in a personal narrative first, but I'd say, no, I'm not doing that. Can you tell me what you're here for? What's your purpose? What are you driving at? And if they wouldn't be, you know, overt about it, then I'd think, what are you trying to twist and sneak here? No, thank you. Please be overt and honest or just leave. And then the other thing is that if they were overt enough in their, you know, if they had a rosette that said, I am from this political party or I represent this movement or whatever, then I wouldn't have to engage in a personal narrative first because I'd already be on to, oh, I know about you and what you think and what you say about this. Why don't we talk about X, Y, Z? So, yeah. If you're going to let a politician come up and canvass you, or a canvasser, I don't know what, maybe a canvasser doesn't have political affiliation, you know, overtly. Maybe they're subverted. Maybe they're secret. What's the word? Maybe they are in disguise, or maybe they're not. Maybe they have no political allegiance whatsoever. But they wouldn't be trying to push an opinion if they didn't. So they must have a political opinion. So these disguised people that come to put ideas in your mind, yeah, when they turn up at your door, you know, if you're going to fall for that, then I've got a gold house you can buy. Right. Anyway, to change a person's opinion. Focus the conversation on their personal narratives that parallel the topic, and let them change their views on their own. There is something to be said for that. Like I said, I think at the end of it all, I'm not going to argue with the case with the man in the pub to make him change his mind, but I could give him an example that he might go away and think about, or she, although I don't argue with ladies in the pub, so maybe not she. It's not polite. They could be non-binary. I argue with non-binary people. I'm happy to do that. You know, I'm very pro LGBTQ everything. You know, I'm pro that, pro inclusion, pro diversity, but not averse to arguing with someone about anything. Right. Anyway, look. So changing the person's topic that parallel the topic. And let them change their views on their own. Okay? The camera's down to 22% battery, so we better get through this. And I've got an ASMR video launching on YouTube at 9 o'clock GMT in an hour. So let's get through this. Number 3, actively listen and acknowledge the views and feelings of the other person. And there's a lot of writing here. Okay, I'm going to try and whip through this because I know what they're going to say. You see why that's funny? Because I know what you're going to say. I don't have to listen to what you've written. But that's what it's about, isn't it? You know, it's about actually taking it on board, really trying to think about what they're saying, and utilising the things they say in the things you reply to them. This is my guess before I've read this. It really helps if someone says, I think mountains are big because X, Y, Z, because of the big rocks they've got on them, and I think mountains are small. I could say to them, well, the big rocks on the mountains, and it shows them that I heard what they said and I'm thinking about it, are, in my opinion, smaller than some of the big rocks we get down here. So the mountain might not be as big. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like actually saying the things that they say, actually addressing the concerns that they bring up. Yeah, shows that you're actively listening. I definitely think that, and also acknowledging the feelings of the other person. I used to be a hairdresser. When you're doing someone's hair, a lot of hairdressers think they're just having a conversation, and they're not. You know, it's part of their service, not just service. You're not sucking up to them in that context. It's not part of the service to like bum them up. Oh yes, miss. Oh yes, everything they say is brilliant. It's not that. It's about this active listening to really understand what they're saying to you, and to prove that that's happening. It's often useful to start your sentences with you instead of I. Loads of people, I this, I that, I think this, I that, and then in response the other person says, oh yeah, I this, I that, I think this, I that, and all they're just doing is I, me, I. And if you're the servant, the providing the service, making someone feel comfortable, if you're in that role as hairdresser, then instead of saying I, you should be saying, listening to what I say, and then say, so you feel this, and you think this, and do you think this, and are you this, and even if you're regurgitating sometimes their ideas back to them in a slightly different syntax with different words, then they feel that they're being listened to and understood. And not only that, you are really listening to them and understanding them, which is so important if you're going to do something like cut their hair, because you want to know what they want, not what I think will look good on you. So, yeah, lessons from science communication and deep canvassing are useful when you've got a lot of knowledge on a subject. But what should you do in situations where you're not expert and you're trying to learn more yourself? Well, number one, I wouldn't be arguing. Because if you're not an expert and you don't know a lot, then why are you arguing with the people about a thing? Go away and educate yourself. That would be my number one tip there. Active listening is one of the most important tools for a productive conversation. So this is weird, because if you're arguing the case with someone and you think they know more than you, and you're going to listen to what they say and take it on board, then it's going to turn into not an argument, isn't it? It's just going to turn into you accepting their opinion. So yeah. Anyway, this conversation strategy involves a variety of verbal and non-verbal cues during conversation. This means nodding and saying yes, and sort of being quiet, restating comments. Again, it's if someone says the mountains. In this instance now, it'll be if someone says the mountains are big because they got big rocks. You say the big rocks contribute to a big mountain, and they go, yeah, I think they've understood what I'm saying there. Asking relevant questions. Can the rocks get any bigger? And demonstrating your attention. All right, yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I agree. Non-verbal cues and verbal cues to announce that you're concentrating. It'll keep the conversation flowing and allow the other person to open up about themselves and their feelings. They miss some asking open-ended questions in particular. That's what I was saying about you as well. You ask people questions, not if I want to find out how someone feels about something, I don't say, does that make you feel happy? Because it's a yes, no. It's like, yes, and then they've not nothing to say about it. What I ask is, how does that make you feel happy? Or, and if they say it doesn't, then I say, well, how does it make you unhappy? And they can then talk around a subject and have a space to fill with real feelings and words, not just the cued response to a question. So yeah, open-ended questions are important there. She talks about her father here. So she had a little chat with the dad. Anxiety over the election. So I think this is also written in a context. This is weird, isn't it? At first it was a context of science, and now they're talking about election anxiety. So households who have differing opinions politically. Active listening. Don't be afraid to briefly pause a conversation that's heating up. Heightened emotions can impact attitudes and perceptions. So what they're saying is if you start rowing and shouting, just leave it and come back when you're calm. That's fair enough. That's an obvious one. Everyone knows that. But it's difficult in the heat of the moment, isn't it? Because you're rowing and shouting and they've said what they've said and you've got the thing in your brain that you want to say that fucking matches what they've said. So there's never a thing where you can just say, look, hang on. Unless this is what they talk about in being the bigger person. But it's not about being the bigger person. It's not about having a personal victory over the opposition because you're better than them, because you back down. It's not about, like, they try and contextualize it like that because it's still about who's winning and who's losing. It's about realizing that you're both losing if you're rowing and shouting, and that some things are not worth the row. So yeah, that was good, wasn't it? Remember this, productive and civil conversations with people who don't share your views are possible, especially with these 3 tips that it took 10,000 words to go through. Remember that simply throwing facts at a person won't change their mind. Use their past experiences to understand where they're coming from and shape the conversation accordingly. If your goal is to shape opinions, let them share stories on parallel experiences that can be connected. Genuinely try to share your feelings. I think people don't have problems with that, do they? Well, they share their feelings, yeah. But maybe some people have problems being genuine. Certainly on all these platforms where popularity equates to financial success. A little empathy can go a long way in building a positive and productive conversation with each other. See, maybe I'm being non-empathetic there, but I wasn't thinking of anyone in particular. I was just being generalising. Caitlin Vinton. Thank you, Caitlin. I did appreciate this article. It's something interesting for us to think about and talk about. I do think behavioural scientists, editors, whatever, I think that there's a lot of words here to say some really basic, sort of down-to-earth points. And I think the basic takeaway is, if you're arguing, in this context from this particular article, is if you're arguing with someone and you disagree with them, what they're basically saying is stop disagreeing with them, stop arguing about it, talk about their past, talk about their experiences, try and find out why they think what they think, then try and use an example from their past that matches the sentiment and the way you want them to think about the topic that you have been talking about. Get them to talk that through, point out that it's similar to the thing you've been talking about. I mean, will that work? It might work. I look forward to disagreeing with someone about something in the future and trying out these techniques. Yeah. I mean, sometimes knowing where the other person is coming from doesn't help, because you kind of think knowing what you think they know, it limits how you feel they're going to be able to think about the things the way you think about them, because there's such difference. And I don't know how to necessarily bridge those differences if people haven't had experiences that contextually mirror the thing you want them to think about, I think there's a bit of a brick wall as well, isn't there? You know, can you remember a time that someone was compassionate to you? No, I can't. People aren't nice to me. Then you're not the same as immigrants. Well, you are the same as immigrants because people are not nice to you. They're not nice to the immigrants either. So don't you feel better about immigrants now? I don't know. Maybe that works. Maybe that works. It's interesting, isn't it? Certainly is. I don't know what happened to chat. I don't know. Welcome to the chat room. It's still going, isn't it? People haven't chatted in it for a while. Or maybe I shouldn't have logged off when things were going so well with the squeaker. But, you know, that's classic. Let's have a look at the delay. We've been on for a little while now. Let's have a look at the delay. Let's see if this has got a delay. Seemed okay, didn't it? You tell me. Every time I edit it, and I realise that talking about streaming, talking about the kit, talking about editing, that's not content unless you're like Devin Nash or someone. You know, some people make their content. I think it's so weird. Like, you make content and then you make the content about how you make the content. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? How to do a YouTube channel, how to be good at Twitch, how to do X, Y, Z. And I get that it's funny because the people who get at the higher end of the curve, they can then make these videos about how they're doing the things they're doing, and everyone wants to know, how do you make money? I want to be like you. How do you do X? How do you do Y? Right, yeah. And they make these content about content. It's just weird, isn't it? So I know that for you, it's not interesting if I talk about, oh, I've got this camera set up trying to work, my computer's not very good, and, you know, content, this, that, and the other. I know it's not interesting to hear about the sort of meta content discussion, but I have to do these things to try and get this stream in order, to try and get us professionally polished, you know, enough so that we can really push forward with this as a medium and a thing. So I'm not going to say bear with me because I was once taught when I worked at a call centre. Hi, you're with Scott. Sorry. Hi, you're through to Scott. This is British Gas. How can I help? Yeah, do you have a quoting reference? No, not your British Gas number. A quoting reference. It should be on the form. You've got a telephone number. Yep. Where did you get that? Yeah, you got our telephone number from a flyer. Yeah, exactly. So on the bottom of the flyer, it says, call this number, quoting, reference. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I'm just going to have to go and let the dog out. Marlo, just a minute. So, in the call centre, they taught me. Can you still hear this? Oh, it's going to be duplicating the voice, isn't it? Let me just give me a second, just let the dog out, and then he'll want to come in straight away. The dog wants to get let out so he can come in again. Yo, so they said never to say bear with me. Because it's okay, yeah, I got confused. Right, so never say bear with me. This is my tip. Talking about how to talk to people you disagree with. That we've heard what Caitlin thinks about that. This is my tip, and it's not about disagreement, but you'll remember this. Never say bear with me, right? Because bear with me is just a nondescript period of time. Bear with me could mean I'll be back in an hour. It could mean I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I said fuck again. It could mean I don't know what the F I'm doing and I'm going to take like 2 days to sort this out. It could mean I've just, in 2 seconds, I'm going to finish with this other customer and I'll be right with you. You know, it could mean any of these things. And bear with me when you're at the end of the phone waiting just means you wait And you feel really frustrated because you're like, am I waiting 10 minutes? Am I waiting half an hour? Can I put this phone down and make a cup of tea? Or should I concentrate? It annoys you. So whenever you're going to make someone wait in that situation, bear with me, whenever you're not able to give them your full attention, the things that you should really try hard to do are to make them understand that they have been, and this doesn't just go for the call centre, this is adding in things that I've learned along the way from hairdressing, make them understand that they have been noticed. Okay, we're going to deal with your concern. You're just going to have to take a seat and wait. It's going to take about 5 minutes for me to get back to you. The first thing there was, okay, we're going to deal with your concern. Okay, if it was the hairdressing, I will book you into that computer. Okay, we'll get you an appointment. Okay, I can get you a price. Whatever it is they want, or you don't know what they want. So you just say, I will be with you in a minute, and whatever it is, we're going to deal with it. So they know that that's coming. And then you say, it's going to take me about, and you say how long it's going to take you. If it's going to take you 10 minutes, say it might take you 15. If it's going to take you 20, say 30. Give a little bit of time extra so that you're not going to disappoint them when you come back to them in longer time. And that's a good advice, isn't it? I should take that and use it in my stream and my YouTube channel and all that, because I disappointed a lot of people when I deliberately went away for ages so that I could hack down some of the viewers. Yeah. Anyway, look, the thing, what was I talking about? Yeah. So tell them, don't say bear with me, because it leaves them hanging. Don't leave them hanging. Tell them what you're going to be doing and how long it's going to take. And then they'll wait. And they'll wait patiently, because they'll know exactly what they're waiting for. They'll get that into their brain. They'll either start doing something else with the time, like checking their phone, or, oh, if it's going to be 15 minutes, I'll just pop over the road and come back. Absolutely fine. Better for me, because you can pop over the road and come back, and I don't have to worry about you sitting there being bored. Give people the option. Let them control their lives. Don't just take control away from them by saying, bear with me, I'm going to put you on hold, and then just leaving them to hang. That's what annoys people. And that would halve so many of the frustrations of people when they're working in call centres talking to people on the phone. And if your people aren't cross at the end of the phone, then you're going to have an easier job of it, aren't you? So, yeah, don't make them cross by frustrating them. That's a little story, wasn't it? What are we up to now? It's 40 minutes till ASMR time, which if you're a follower on this channel of Twitch, then you'll have already seen the ASMR live, but I edited it a bit and did some sound tweaking because I thought the background sound was up too loud, which it was, but I don't have, for some reason, I don't have subtle control over the sound of my stream. And we will get there. We will get there. We're going to upgrade to a nice, powerful PC computer, not an old Mac that is great for editing but has trouble with other programs. We're going to upgrade to that in the future. We've got goals. Should we do goal setting now? Should we do a bit of goal setting? Or should we leave that for a bit? I'll just mention it briefly while we're here. We're going to look towards, and I say we because it's us, isn't it? The stream. It's us. We're going to look towards maybe playing New World, because Twitch is an Amazon platform. We've got Amazon at home. We had Alexa for a long while, helping us look after our nan by having her permanently rigged up to Alexa before she came to move in at our house. That's different stories. But yeah, so Amazon is a function that we use in our house for shopping and information and things like that. And they run Twitch. So I thought that was interesting. I'm going to have to go and let the dog in a minute. And I thought it's interesting that Twitch are making their own MMO called New World. It looks interesting, running around, swords. I don't think it's vegan. I think we're going to have to maybe kill animals in the game. But we can have a look at maybe playing through vegan. We can have a look at it. But yeah, so we've got this idea brewing in the back of my mind that if I can push the stream on until March, when the game is released fully, I can upgrade the set up the kit. We can leave these delay and volume sound problems behind us, polish things up and move forward with that through the summer. We've also got Learning Zone on here. We've just done a bit of Learning Zone. We've done some interesting behavioural science today. Apparently, if that's PhD behavioural science, then get me a cap and gown. But no, yeah, I mean, Caitlin was interesting. it was good, and we've done some of that. I'm also looking to do some art history. So same principle. We'll get something up, we'll talk about it. It'll be history, it'll be art. We'll do the same with art appreciation of people that are currently artists producing works and things like that. And we'll talk veganism news. And on Monday, it's Mental Health Monday. So every Monday, I'm going to make sure that I get on stream, even if it's just me sitting here twiddling my thumbs, because I feel that I should be available so that we can talk mental health, whether I'm like happy myself or not, whether things are going well or not. I think we should just repeatedly check in to give you and to give us an opportunity to talk about things regularly and to know that it's going to be there. I think that's something that I'd like to offer. Yeah. And I feel I'm able to at the moment. I feel I'm able to. So yeah, Monday, Mental Health Monday. Will we get on stream over the weekend? Will we fill in those gaps of the schedule? We may well do. We may well do. I'm just getting into the routine and the flow at the moment. But it's going well, isn't it? Assuming that you've been able to hear this. Yeah. So be good, my little puckos. I'm going to go and let the dog in. You go and get your tea. And I'll see you at 9 o'clock on the ASMR channel on YouTube. And on Monday for Mental Health Monday. Or if not in between. Be good, my little puckos. Be good. And I always have to do this bit at the end where I don't know how to stop the stream. Keep smiling though until it's gone. That's what they do when they're on the telly, don't they? The camera's on them live, and they're like smiling until the camera's off. And oh my god, fucking, I can't. We don't want any of that here. It's just me, the way I am. No bullshit. No pretending to be someone else. Except when I do my funny voices and pretend to be someone else. Look, stop streaming. There's a button for that.